Tower defense games are a popular type of game where players plan strategies to protect their base. They require quick thinking and decisions to defeat waves of enemies. There are many of these games available on PC, so in this video I will show you the best tower defense games for PC. If you ever dreamed of starring in your Marvel comic, take a peek at Rack Exoverse to add to your tower defending game collection. Each round, you'll construct defenses with turrets and walls in order to slow incoming enemies and prevent them from reaching your beacon before you can be defeated. Once you are ready for battle, the game switches to a first-person perspective where you'll be tasked with holding off waves of enemies using different weapons like pistols, shotguns, rifles, and alien blasters. With its intriguing combination of towers and elements, Element TD2 comes in at number 9 on our best tower defense games list. Contrary to other titles to make the roundup, the Element TD actually started out as a mod for games like Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2. Since then, it evolved into this game that we have today, building on all the features that were initially created. At its core, Element TD2 is everything that tower defense games are about, simplistic in nature, but challenging. In this one though, the slight twist on the formula is that you'll be utilizing 6 elements that combine to create 59 unique towers. This makes for levels that keep you on your toes, especially since you'll need to remember each of the tower's strengths. The graphics in this one really pop too, neatly wrapping it up as a pretty complete package. Ironhide Studios has spent the last decade perfecting a line of fantasy-fueled tower defense games known as Kingdom Rush. From the original Kingdom Rush game back in 2014 through to the most recent entry Vengeance, which takes place from the perspective of the series' antagonist, Kingdom Rush is a house name in the world of tower defense. There's even a board game spin-off. Kingdom Rush has all of the genre staples, such as towers and the need to defend yourself from waves of relentless enemies. There are also heroes you can deploy with powerful abilities of their own and plenty of other fun twists. Tower defense fans should definitely check this one out if they haven't already. It's on mobile, too. If you're obsessed with the likes of Thor and Loki, take a peek at this game. In Bad North, you're tasked with defending your small island kingdom against armies of Viking invaders. Similar to Minion Masters, you will be positioning and relocating troops in order to counter different Viking enemy types. Defense Grid. The Awakening is straightforward perfection, and unlike many games on this list, you're actually using towers as a defense. Stop aliens from stealing power cores from a charmingly British AI companion, and kill them if they try to escape. Defeating aliens nets the resources to buy or upgrade the various types of towers, and there are the usual death mazes the player can put together. Defense Grid is a pure, addictive tower defense delight, and if that's not enough, there are DLC tie-ins with Borderlands and Portal 2. Defense Grid 2, however, is a little overcomplicated. We'll stick to the original. If you like fast-paced, strategy tower defending games, check out Minion Masters. To defend your side, you'll pick cards to gather an army of minions to fight in battle. While they're doing their bidding, you'll be able to analyze your opponent's weaknesses and plan your next attack. Starting off, Defense Grid 2 shines brightly as one of the best tower defense games on PC. It's a sequel to the much-loved Defense Grid, The Awakening, and takes everything good from the first game to a whole new level. Players have a simple mission: protect your base by building and upgrading different towers, each with its own special powers. Every level is like a new puzzle, keeping things exciting and fresh each time you play. The variety in the game means there's lots of room to try new things and find out what works best, adding lots of replay value. Furthermore, the story pulls you in with sharp graphics and strong voice acting, making the game feel more immersive and each playthrough feel new and exciting. It's this combination of great storytelling and solid gameplay that makes Defense Grid 2 stand out from the crowd. The game also offers different modes and difficulty settings, meaning there's something for everyone, whether you're new to tower defense games or a seasoned pro. And with its strategic depth and replayability, Defense Grid 2 promises hours of fun and challenge. From the studio behind Satisfactory and Goat Simulator, Sanctum 2 is a unique tower defense game because it also doubles as an FPS game. If you just play the first few seconds, you could be forgiven for thinking you've bought a Borderlands-style co-op shooter until you hit the arena and have to put up walls, turrets, Tesla coils, and other defenses to stop the alien hordes from taking out your power cores. All you really need to know is that you can create death mazes in up to 4-player co-op. Sanctum 2 is one to throw at anyone who says that tower defense games aren't exciting. Bloons TD6 is the latest installment in the Bloons Tower Defense game series. Like the predecessors before, the game is played by popping as many balloons, or bloons, as you can by using a combination of your monkey hero's special abilities. This version offers new HD animations, visual effects, plus 37 brand new maps to keep you entertained for weeks on end. Bloons TD is a franchise that's been around for some time, so the developers know a thing or two about the tower defense genre. We'll talk more about another best tower defense game from the franchise later, but up first is Bloons Adventure Time TD. A lot of game tie-ins with movies or TV shows fall a bit flat, but this one just oozes fun, perfectly matching the same vibe from the series. You'll be able to play through 50 maps over 15 adventures, recruiting a bunch of different characters from both Adventure Time and the Bloons franchises. Graphically, it's pretty stellar with bright colors and engaging visuals that should keep you concentrating for hours on end. As for the gameplay, there's no huge change-ups to the Bloons formula, just more of what it does best combined with a bit of Adventure Time to make for a crossover worth your time. This minimalist base defense game features a cartoonish flat-color art style and brilliantly simplistic gameplay that's both highly accessible and mechanically deep. Thronefall combines tower defense and RTS mechanics to create a unique base defense game in which players fight off waves of enemies with a combination of their playable character and the units that they've built. In Thronefall, players have minimal control over their units, but the controls are so intuitive that it makes micromanaging them easy. Economy plays a large part in Thronefall, with the longevity of a player's defense usually boiling down to how well they can handle their little kingdom's economy. Although Thronefall is a very accessible game, it contains an abundance of difficulty modifiers that help bring extra challenge for those who are more experienced. Do you have a zombie apocalypse escape plan figured out? If you do, check out Frontline Z. In this tower defending game, players will explore a zombie-infested United States. The days are spent searching for weapons, ammo, and other supplies while also getting ready for battle. Once night falls, zombies will appear and you have to defend your barricade. Anomaly, Warzone Earth is a complete reversal of the tower defense genre. The player instead controls the units they're trying to sneak past the defenses in order to attack. It's tower offense. After plotting a course through an alien-controlled hellscape, players must keep their limited units healthy, upgrading them wherever possible, to make it to the objective while attacking the various tower defenses along the way. It's not the longest game on this list, but it's an innovative and fun spin on the genre. OTTTD is a strategy tower defense game that is played in which players command a squad of heroes as they travel through transdimensional rifts to battle alien creatures. You'll be able to choose 3 of 7 available classes to bring into battle, unlocking new combat abilities and skills as your characters gain XP and level up in addition to unlocking new weapons. This base-building survival game features action RPG elements, tasking players with building a base on an exotic alien planet and defending it from a variety of nasty creatures with defenses and a physical playable character in the form of a powerful mech. The Riftbreaker is a visually stunning indie title that manages to pull off a careful blend of dynamic action-packed combat and strategic base building with a full campaign to play as well as a classic survival mode with randomized maps. There are a bunch of Gemcraft titles, but Gemcraft Frostborn Wrath makes it as our top selection in the series, and onto this best tower defense games roundup. It utilizes the more simplistic top-down view compared to other tower defense games, but this doesn't detract one bit from the intense and engaging gameplay. There are over 100 different fields of battle to take part in, combined with a plethora of different conditions to keep you on your toes, making no fight the same. Of course, gems are a huge part of the gameplay, and need to be used strategically to aid you in the heat of battle. There are a total of 6 gems to craft and use in this iteration of the game, in conjunction with a dozen skills that you can unlock on the way, coming together to make for some really diverse tower defense strategies. Graphically, you're not going to be wowed, but tower defense games aren't known for their visuals in the main anyway, so Frostborn Wrath isn't an outlier in this regard. If you end up completing all the levels available, there's an additional endurance mode, allowing you to play endlessly, if you're up for the challenge, that is. Entertainment Weekly says that Sleep Tight is something straight out of a storybook. In this game, you'll play as a child who spends their days building the ultimate base from pillows and bed sheets in addition to collecting ammo for your dart gun. Once night arrives, you'll find yourself in epic battles as hordes of scary monsters begin to spawn inside your room. The Orcs Must Die series mixes third-person shooter, melee, and magic combat with fantasy-based tower defense, requiring players to mix strategy with skill. You can't rely on just your weapons or the Dungeon Keeper-style traps to defeat the Orc hordes. The third game in the series was exclusive to Google Stadia, but has since launched on Steam. Orcs Must Die 3 is a welcome addition to the franchise, introducing a story mode that takes place 20 years after Orcs Must Die. 2. In War Scenarios, a new mode that lets players fight against the largest orc armies ever assembled. One player of this game reviews Zombie Builder Defense as the ultimate activity. Game is a fun time burner with your friends. Group up, grab some beer and defend yourself against the zombies. $2 well spent. To play this tower defending game, zombies will storm your base. After you successfully ward them off, you will be transported to a shop where you can spend money you've collected on defense mechanisms for your barricade, turrets, traps, weapons, and upgrades for your character. This highly popular colony sim is heavily revolved around building up a base and defending it from constant enemy raids and neighboring factions. Although RimWorld is also focused on building and managing the colony itself, some of the game's greatest threats are its various raids. RimWorld features a small array of defenses that can be unlocked through research, but the success of a player's defense often comes down to how well they have planned and constructed their base, as well as careful micromanagement and equipment allocation of colonists. Live your inner Game of Thrones fantasy with this tower defending game. Kingdom, Two Crowns can be either played solo or with friends. In this fantasy game, you're tasked with creating a nation that has to defeat an army of enemies, the Greed. To beat the bad guys and establish peace in the kingdom, you'll have to travel throughout the land acquiring gold and recruiting followers to help your reign reach its full potential. From Psychonauts developer Double Fine comes this underrated third-person mech combat / tower defense mashup. In the aftermath of WW1, a crazed scientist tries to take over the world with his army of killer televisions, but luckily the chaps of the Mobile Trench Division are here to save the day. The player gets a fully armed mech, which is fun, but they'll also need to set up defenses to counter the tube onslaught. The unique gameplay, co-op, and Double Fine's signature snappy wit make Iron Brigade well worth a visit. If you're looking for a game with great visuals, Dungeon Defenders 2 might be the game for you. Even PC Gamer reviews it with "I can't think of a game that looks more like an honest-to-God cartoon." To play, you or 3 other friends will fight to protect the land of Etheria by building a variety of traps designed to destroy hordes of monsters. Diplomacy is not an option as players building a sprawling castle and defending it from hordes of enemies. The enemy sieges are made up of thousands of enemies that react when hit, with catapult stones and arrows sending enemies flying with fully simulated physics. Diplomacy is not an option. Tasks players with managing food and resources, burying their dead, training units, and preparing an organized defense before the enemies show up in droves. Diplomacy is not an option also features magical spells, RTS elements, and an endless mode. One Steam reviewer describes Rock of Ages as if someone threw Monty Python, Tower Defense, and Marble Madness in a blender, turned it on high for a few minutes, arranged it into a delicious dessert, and sprinkled some history on top for flavor enhancement. The story of the game is there are 2 castles in the kingdom. One is yours and the other is your enemy's. To defeat your enemy, you're going to try to destroy their castle by using an enormous boulder. But beware! There's a giant boulder headed your way too. Barbarian features a barbarian named Brad who hung up his axe to play guitar instead. By playing sick tunes, Brad can call several fighters to follow him, who attack enemies when they get close. It's a tower defense game where the defenses accompany the player around the battlefield. The player doesn't attack at all, although they can be killed. You simply lead troops, boost them with guitar riffs, and collect gold for upgrades, which include new unit types, more effective boosts, and a town drunk who vomits in the enemy's path. The usual stuff. This city-building sim has players building a medieval fantasy town and expanding it into a sprawling city of happy citizens while defending it from vicious Viking raids and devastating dragon attacks. Both the Vikings and the dragons pose 2 very different threats, from pillaging the town and kidnapping citizens, to burning down entire sections of the kingdom. In Kingdoms and Castles, players don't just have to worry about building defenses and armies, but also the happiness of their people and the economy of their kingdom. Every defense needs to be manned by a villager, and that villager needs to be paid. This strategic puzzle of expanding the kingdom and managing resources while keeping everyone happy and defenses manned is a constant juggle that keeps kingdoms and castles engaging for a good while. The Rock of Ages series is an intriguing mix of tower defense, Super Monkey Ball, and animated bits of Monty Python. Each level features a downhill course with a base at the end that the player has to protect with various wacky defenses. At the same time, the player's opponent, human or AI, is doing the same thing. When either is ready, they can control a rolling boulder and attempt to smash through those defenses and crash into the enemy base. Rock of Ages 2 is probably the best in the series, as the more recent third game leaned a little too hard into the difficulty and lost much of the fun. As one of the most popular base defense games, They Are Billions is a steampunk-themed strategy game in which players must build a base and defend it from truly massive hordes of undead. As well as the traditional defenses usually found in base defense games, They Are Billions includes a handful of units the player can train and control in real time to help defend their base. They Are Billions features a campaign with over 40 missions, but the game really shines in its randomly generated survival mode. They Are Billions is a harsh and unforgiving experience that can sometimes feel repetitive, but its impressive hordes of zombies make for a real spectacle, especially when they're being mowed down by a well-designed defense. So, did you like the games I recommended? So leave your like, subscribe to the channel to follow me and activate the bell because I post a lot of videos on this channel and you can't miss it. I would like to remind you that in the description we have a list of different products that can make your gaming experience much better. If you want to buy, the link will be in the description. Anyway, thank you very much for following me this far and until next time, bye.